For my next video session.
Formal meeting reconvened at 10:33. 3.8.1, can I have somebody please move Jenny's report be received?
3.7.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's why I might get the meeting finished, don't just clean jump over the agenda. My apologies. Thank you, Councillor Hanson, but I'll now ask that you move that motion since you
I will
pointed
move
that out. Thank you. Seconded. Councillor Gleeson, those in favour, carried 7-0. Paula?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I have a date for the Aramac pool, so we're waiting on equipment, so that'll be out of production on the 15th of July, so hopefully after that, shortly after that, they will be on site. We've started at the Aramac landfill, so they're cleaning up the site there this week, so we're excited to see what's going to happen there. We've got a few plans for that, which will be very good. That's all.
Questions for Paula?
Just through you, Mr. Mayor. With the toilets for the sculpture trail, Paul, where are we sitting with that?
So I did get some quotes earlier. I'm not sure if that'll continue under me or the Director of Works. I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't gotten any further with any more quotes. With the eco toilets. The eco toilets for the sculpture trail, is that what you're referring to? Yeah.
Further questions?
Those toilets would be in conjunction with Telstra as well.
That's the plan at this stage. If the power, so councillors may recall conversations that I reported to you with Telstra surrounding the installation in the future, should they be in receiving of black spot funding to put mobile phone service around that area. They would need to move power, or power would need to be connected to a tower. It's currently there. It would be the ideal time, it's right adjacent to the road, would be the time to install toilets, should we be of a mind to do so. If we went, well, not the time, but the opportunity, if we went as a partner to put the power on, we could utilise that then for a toilet. But that they were unsuccessful in the most recent round, but they have resubmitted in the next round, so which gives us quite some time to consider what we may choose to contribute financially as a side project to that. It is not budgeted for, and nor are the toilets, Councillor Hanson. Is that correct, Paul? They're not a budget item.
Yes, they are. Isn't it?
Moving forward though, not currently.
Not currently.
No. So they're not in this year's budget. It's not a project to be completed.
No.
Okay. 381, can I have somebody read Jenny's report, please?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, yeah.
Can we go back one?
Yeah.
This question is not directly to the district manager, but staff. Carpenter, 4 months long service, due to retire in early December. Now, Mr. Mayor, that's 6 months pre-warning that we're having with that gentleman or lady who's moving on. I just wanted to note that job could be starting to be advertised, or should it be started to be advertised? I just wanted to flag that while I was looking at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gleeson. Yep.
Have the dinosaur tracks been done for us?
No, not yet.
Oh, yeah. So are the school children going to help, like some of the council employees, to paint that, or is it just a school?
No, it'll only be, through you, Mr. Mayor, it'll only be myself. Probably I'll go over one afternoon and work with the kids on that.
That sounds like a good little activity. Also, I just wanted to say that's really good that you were able to get that, the Aramac Community Development Association getting that grant, gym equipment.
Yeah.
Mr Mayor, I have another question, if you don't mind. The Mildura Bristol watering facilities is what is the problem there?
Through you, Mr Mayor, the trough's got a leak in it, and also it's not up to water facility standards, so we have to install another tank. So all water facilities are supposed to have 2 tanks there. And so we're looking at lining the trough with cement and installing another tank. That's through stock-out funds.
Artesian bore, flowing artesian bore under pressure, and we have to supply 2 tanks.
Well, you don't have to.
But somebody has to, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
I don't.
That is an artesian bore, you turn the tap on and the water squirts 50 metres out in the paddock. And we've got to have a reservoir.
Would you like to have a more broad-ranging conversation about what the Mayor thinks about stock wraps, Councillor Bliss?
I don't think we should.
I'm quite happy. I've said it in public forum, they all should be abolished. And ridiculous provisions like you've just discussed are one of the reasons why. Why? Like, you should be able to just pump the water straight into a trough. Thousands of steers couldn't drink the water as fast as it runs out of that bore.
No, it's ridiculous.
Anyway,
Thank you.
yeah, we're not funding it. Thank goodness.
We're not funding it, Mr Mayor. Okay.
But we also don't recover the wages of people that have got to go and install it either. Or maintain it. We don't fully recover that either.
That is, yeah, that was my follow-up. Yeah, we don't recover the wages.
Not totally. The new stock route reform legislation that is going to be passed certainly presents us with a better opportunity to recover costs from travelling stock, but maintenance and operating costs certainly not fully recoverable.
Thank you.
We're just fortunate we luckily don't have many stock traverse our network. Your Winton or Blackall or Marinara, they blow $300,000 to $500,000 net loss per year on stock routes. It's horrendous. As I said, I'm no drovers, ride 600 horses every minute, not one a day. Unfortunately, we're still stuck in the 19th century. I'll come down off my soapbox and move to Jenny's report, unless you want to go back one again.
Thank you.
Morning to you, it has slowed you down. You want to go back one?
I know, I'm moving Jenny's report, Mr.
Hasn't changed you any anyway. Moved Councillor Peoples. Seconded Councillor Arthur. Those in favour? 7-0. Questions, please. Oh, Jenny, have you got anything to add or anything on top of that?
Just point out that the Globe Tower has been opened. We have it sectioned off so that they can't actually go to the gallery. There is to be a door installed at the bottom of the stairs, as we were discussing yesterday. That's been awarded. It's just waiting for that to be done and installed. We have received an updated design for the Tropic of Capricorn sign, just waiting on a quote. They're just waiting on some steel pricing there. I did attend the Outback Carnival, the Arthur Beats and Outback muster for junior footballers. It was very well run, but must compliment there are some very talented children in these areas that they came from, and there are some very talented children just in our local area. So it was good to see some of those be selected to go away to represent these areas at Coolum. I think it's in June they go down there. So yeah, it was very good. All the kids enjoyed themselves. They had a great weekend. The race course, and I did mention this yesterday, the Longridge Turf Club held their race meet here 2 weekends ago. There has been some damage to that, so they're sort of trying to get that repaired. The next race meeting is not till 11th of June, so if we have the dry weather, hopefully it should be right by then. The recreation park canteen, that Leslie opened that at the Friday night, was her first night of, last week was her first night of trade. Heard good reports that it seems to be going very well. And the security fence or high fencing at the Barkey dump is out on vendor pound at the moment. And I think they've had a couple go out and look at that. That's about it.
Thanks, Jenny. Questions?
Excuse me, Mr Mayor, it may only be trivial, but the commencement date for the leasee on the rec park is the 1st of June.
She asked could she start earlier through you, Mr Mayor, and that was approved. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Councillor Hanson. Self-explanatory here, councillors. Any questions before we move one way or the other on this resolution?
So that'll be 4 of the 6 lots at Mahogany Court.
Gone.
Yep.
Mover?
Last one, please. Option. Oh, sorry, Mr Mayor. Councillor Plum just asked me about the pre-existing arrangement with the builder,
The last meeting.
that he had expressed an intention not to go through with options.
Is there a mover? Councillor Rogers. Seconded. Councillor Gleeson. Debate? Those in favour? 6-0. Thank you. Councillor Hanson may rejoin. Councillors, with this agenda item, I have undertaken to speak with Pat's family, and they are deep. So, again, I haven't preempted, but we did discuss this in a workshop so that I could go to the family and sit there, or seek to understand their position on this. They're deeply honoured that council would consider doing that. So I will move that council names the Globe Tower Pat Ogden Tower. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Gleeson. Sorry, Peoples, you didn't move your eyebrows at all, even let it on your finger, my apologies.
So
Debate?
Gleeson or Peoples?
No, it's Peoples, sorry, definitely. Is there discussion?
Mr Mayor?
Yes.
We're really going to have to advertise this because people know the Globe as what it is. If we put it out there that come and see the Pat Ogden Tower, is it the airport they go to? Is it the, I think I would like it to be the Globe Tower, as in, so people can relate to it.
Bit of the old discussion about what we call the rec lake was the same thing, it's Barcaldine Recreation Lake because you identify then, it's in Barcaldine, whereas if you had called it Person XYZ Lake, you say you like Burley Griffin, you've got no idea what I'm talking about. It's the centre of Canberra, you know what I mean? So I understand your point. I think there's going to be a degree of, I'll speak in favour of the motion. I think there will be a degree of that anyway associated. I think it's probably a ceremonial and a recognition of Pat's contribution to public life in Barcaldine. That's something, and not only Barcaldine but Western Queensland generally, that a facility be named in his honour, wherever that may be. I think the fact that the facility is synonymous with a place that meant so much to him adds to that importance. So, yes, marketing that, if we want it to be an attraction, will require some very clever communication, but I think that's possible. In fact, I'm very confident that we can market the Pat Ogden Tower appropriately to people using the right terminology, and that way for our local attachment to that facility, it recognises the tremendous work that Pat did on behalf of and as a servant to the people of Barcaldine over his entire life here. And I think I understand from a commercialisation point of view, but I just think out of a community respect and I guess he was a local icon to so many people for so long, and we would like to think that tower becomes a local icon in time that may rival Pat's own impact on the community in so many ways. So I think it's a very fitting gesture that council makes in that respect. But that's my personal opinion, obviously, as the mover. Any further debate?
Mr Mayor, I endorse, as a second, I endorse everything you just said.
Proceed to the vote. Those in favour? Against? 6-1. Councillor Plum voting against. Uh, 391. Councillor, move that we receive the report. Councillor Arthur, seconded Councillor Hanson. Those in favour? 7-0. Taken as read. Any questions that Brett can pass on to you?
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'll just say last night's Babushka in Aramac was well attended, and it was, everyone was grateful that council put some money up for them to come to Aramac, and they'll be at Muttaburra tonight, so they enjoyed their stay too.
I would expect that that'll be pretty well attended too.
Yeah, I would say so.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'd like to make a comment towards Barkawal Golf Club. I've actually been out there, they've repainted the whole clubhouse, redone the floors, the bars, greens, and looking immaculate. And it's full credit to the Barkawal Golf Club for preparing for the upcoming races.
When's that again? It's shortly, isn't it? July?
Next weekend, I think it's Lady Sand Greens.
Yep.
And the hole-in-one, $1 million hole-in-one, not far off either.
Early July, I reckon. Yeah. Sorry, Damien, I should have flipped you to answer that. Yeah. It's the last thing in the room, unless Shane's got a very late hand. It's the last in the room.
He's not saying anything, I live big handicap.
My biggest handicap is not turning up. Right. Before I move to questions on notice, I'd like to introduce a mayoral minute, supporting material for which was circulated to councillors by me this morning. I'd like to move that council provides financial support to the Barcaldine Jockey Club for their Tree of Knowledge weekend event. I'm going to now open that for resolution. I should also point out that a pre-existing declared conflict of interest for Councillor Peoples, in which he has dealt with previously by leaving the room for discussion. He is now leaving the room to allow for that to proceed. So declared the March special meeting, April special meeting where we decided on this. I'm introducing it as I have indicated to councillors. I won't at this point put a figure in that resolution to allow you to discuss it. I am aware that I'll open it for discussion. There may be discussions around the timing, perhaps, of their submission. So I'll deal with this in a way of, is this discussion at the beginning, is there support to provide assistance? And then should the majority of you agree with that, we will then move to deciding or determining the figure, rather than wasting time on how much we're going to give them if it's not council's intention to support that. So I'm now in your hands, councillors. Are you of the mind to support giving them some financial assistance, given the time limits of their application?
Through you, Mr Mayor, is the amount is within our budget?
The unallocated portion of the Tree of Knowledge Festival. So, mate, how much have we spent to date? I think we had a budget at the commencement of the year of 30,000. So, mate, I'll just check. It's not anywhere near expended. I reckon it won't be 15,000. So, while we're waiting for that, are we broadly yes or no? I mean, it's now on the appropriate form, but it is substantially outside the event. But we're within the budgeted year. Broadly speaking, it fits with our policy, although it is subject to the fact that it's held after the event.
Mr Mayor, it's 9,800 expenses.
Out of 30,000?
20,000.
20. It's 20 in next year's budget, you sure it's not 30 this year? Okay. Comments, questions?
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'm happy to support in some way. Yeah, ideally, we do get these requests prior to events, but I can understand that sometimes we don't live in a perfect world.
Okay, is anyone against? Then I shall go that way. They're not, how much do you want to give? You see on the form that what the request is okay, so I suggested to the Treasurer that she submit the total amount to allow us to determine this, so that's why they've all come through. But you would note in the grant information that obviously the invoices have already been paid, accommodations and meals have been provided on top, so the club has contributed to this expense. What do you want to do, councillors? Pay the full amount? Part of it? Where are we at?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just added up. Amount of assistance requested is $5,000. They've asked for $5,000.
I'm happy to pay the full amount. Owing to the fact that we've got lots of money still left in that account, and yeah, we made a commitment to support clubs during the festival, the Tree of Knowledge Festival, so I'm happy to move that we pay for it.
That decision should be supported has, that's what we submitted to, provided to, sorry, I reckon it was Buckhorn Rugby League, so very similar figure to that, to offset some expenses for Bluey, so.
Mr Mayor,
Councillor Clark.
I'm in favour of this as well. I think, security, everyone needs security now in one way or another. And we did discuss this prior to this, saying that it's an expense that they have to pay and have to do, and I'm sure we said it's supporting one of the paid security.
Councillor Arthur.
In advance of the weekend, I would be very supportive of the full $5,000. I will say again, community groups, we are more than willing to help, but they need to do themselves some favours by doing things in a timely manner as well. I'm not against it. I would be more comfortable with half because it's after the fact. And I think council did endeavour and made multiple attempts to the community and community groups well in advance of the festival weekend for requests for assistance. I'm not against the $5,000. I'll be more comfortable with half, just based on the post facto or the timing of it. But I won't be voting against.
Councillor Hanson.
Yeah, I'm not against Mr Mayor.
Councillor Gleeson.
Mr Mayor, yeah. There's only an extra $50 in it, $5,050, but as Councillor Arthur said, the committees want to be a little bit more proactive and do things in the appropriate time for either the $5 or $550.
I'm not going to go back around the room for $50, so we'll leave it at $5,000. That might help some people. The summary here is from the Mayor seeking support for the Barcaldine Racing Club event held, and then continue as you are. Do I have it's mere minutes, so I move that. Seconder. Sorry, I can't call for a seconder until I put the resolution. The resolution is that council provides $5,000. The council approves the payment of $5,000 to the Barcaldine Racing Club. For event expenses. Sorry. Full stop. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hanson. Don't go formal debate on this, or can if you want. There being none, those in favour? Carried 6-0. Angela, yes, please. Angela, we have gone past your report, but have you got anything? So, for your benefit, there was some complimentary comments about Babushka last night in Aramac. Good attendance, and people were grateful for that. And there was also a reference to the fact that the Buckhorn Golf Club have done a very good job preparing for some upcoming events. Obviously reference to, so, but have you got anything you'd like to draw our attention to?
I just want to acknowledge all the volunteers that helped out for the Mad Bag Mad Bag Colour Fun Run. There's 20 of them that helped to make sure that was a success, and the family were very grateful. The council holding that event.
Very good. Any questions for Angela now that she's in the room? Okay. Thank you, Angela. Questions on notice? Can I have somebody please move that we receive the report with the responses to last month's meeting? Councillor Arthur moved, seconded Councillor Plum. Those in favour? 7-0. Questions on notice for this meeting? Councillor Rogers.
Mr. Mayor, I've only had a question from the Barkey community about the fogging as well. I think Damien was asked a question from Jericho about when fogging would happen. So I'm just wondering whether we might be able to put something in the Gazette or to let people know when it was happening, or if it was going to happen.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, they've actually also started doing some of the around in the Jericho school and on the river there. The RLO has been out, he's actually put out like a chemical so that gets rid of the mosquitoes that way as well. And they're also going to be then, we've just been waiting for the right time to look at the fogging and to check that everything's working and that with that as well. So, and that we'll go through the normal process with letting the communities know if we need to on that when that happens.
Through Mr. Mayor, to Paula, it's because Muddaborough and would have a bit of a problem too at the moment, wouldn't they? Like with
Yeah, so it's the same case over there. We're waiting for the right time. They just need to let you know when they want it done.
Councillor Plum, questions on notice? Councillor Arthur.
No, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Hanson.
Probably not a question on notice, Mr. Mayor, but a comment that was made to me in Muddaborough on the weekend, the amount of rain and the amount of feed that if once it dries and fires break out, if possible, there's really no real fires at Muddaborough. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I don't know if that's a situation that might be facing most of their towns, whether the real fires are dwindling away or whether there's actually enough manpower there to handle that sort of stuff.
I'll do some investigating into that along with the staff, but they did undertake a equipment changeover function here a couple of weeks ago. So, and there was representatives from Muddaborough here that received that vehicle that had been transferred through to them from Jericho. Obviously, all volunteer groups are short of numbers, but there wasn't a representation. I was speaking to the first officer in Muddaborough last week, and we discussed a whole range of issues, and fighting wasn't one of them, and he would have raised it, so I'll follow up that.
It was a property owner in the Muddaborough area that I was talking to. It was just a comment he made, which made me think, well, is there or isn't there?
Right, we'll have a look generally, perhaps even more broadly across the council area around that. I'll have a talk to Mark Summers, who's the area director for rural fires.
Mr. Mayor, I asked a question about the Artesian Hotel, and there was an inspection being carried out. That was a month ago, and I meant to ask during the meeting again. But do we know anything more about the inspection on the Artesian Hotel?
question on notice, is that what it is?
That's one question, just one question on notice. One other question on notice is we have mentioned it before about trying to get the caravans off the main street and putting some signs to advise that there is room on the northern side of the railway line. There's no signs. Has anybody looked at it? Is it going to be looked at? We're approaching the high part of the tourism season, and I was just wondering if anything was going to be done about that. Thank you.
I'll just comment that in your budget, your papers yesterday, there was $50,000 special operating for signage for the main street.
Thank you.
Councillor Pickens.
Mr Mayor, I've got a few. I want to, the acting CEO's response to the plumber position in Aramac, created a new position for a town supervisor. I think we do need a plumber over there to look after Aramac and Marlborough. And I would have liked to have seen that before for a plumber, and maybe said, part of your job's going to be the town supervisor. We do need a plumber. So I'd like that we try and do something about that. Mr Mayor, the other thing that I want to raise is, and with council support and your support, is that I'd like you to write a couple of letters, or to see how to write a couple of letters to, one, the Gold Coast City Council. We had a football carnival on the Gold Coast last weekend. People from all over Queensland went down there at great expense, under 15 and under 18 rugby league carnival. And the Gold Coast City Council, as far as I understand, shut down all the others because of wet weather. I think they would be more considerate about the expense, the time, the effort of all these people that go there to get there. And the boys to go to these carnivals. And I think it was a disgrace that they shut down all those ovals and those kids couldn't play. They went down there for 4 games and they played 1.5. And it was only due to Seabus and the Titans coming to the aid of all those people that travelled that they could have that 1.5 games. So I'd like to let it go to the Gold Coast City Council. And disappointing was that they shut the road. And another letter to go to either Seabus or the Titans, whoever runs that over, thanking them for allowing those kids to have a game of football.
We'll look at investigating and report back. Part of that is what we're going to do for me. So I'll report back to the thing about that in terms of relationship with the stakeholder maintaining. Before we jump into anything very well, I'll find out before we come back.
All right.
Anybody?
No.
Any further questions on those?